Congratulations for those of you who ended up swing trading DWAC put options. The put options that we went with that expired this Friday are up 100%. The calls are down 80%. As you know, we ended up buying put options when the stock was trading at $28. When it ended up spiking a little bit higher to $29, I ended up adding to my put options, and I also picked up another put option strike. I held those overnight and I sold for a 100% profit return as soon as the market opened. Now, if you go on YouTube or if you go on social media and you research DWAC stock, most people were not preparing you for this short-term crash. They were giving you the hopium. They were telling you it's going to break above 30. They were telling you, this is the outlandish price target. It's going to go to 30s. It's going to go to 40s. It's going to go to 50s. They were selling you the dream, while I ended up identifying a key trend reversal, an obvious crash that was expected to happen, and it happened, and it worked out perfectly. While most people holding call options, if they were in early, they just gave back the vast majority of their profits, right? Instead of selling at the peak. And for those who bought in at the top, they are down exponentially, right? So within this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you information that nobody else is willing to share with you. I'm going to show you how to identify when a stock can have a reversal, how to identify when that stock can have a massive crash. When is it time to sell? When does it make sense to sell? If you don't sell your long position, here are the consequences, right? Are you going to be hedging with puts? What is your game plan? I'm going to show you my style of trading. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to determine when a stock is going to have a massive crash, how to buy put options at the lows when the stock is trading at the peak, how to be short selling at the tops of resistance, right? I'm going to show you what's different compared to everybody else, right? Because if you want to be able to escape the matrix and make it as a trader, you have to be trading completely different compared to how everyone else is trading, right? Why would you want to be buying the peaks, be buying the tops on a stock that is up 100% in a bear market, when all of the bearish confirmations have triggered for the short term? It's just so interesting how this play works out, man. I literally profited off the degeneracy of people's emotions. What ended up happening was Trump gave out this announcement when the stock was sitting towards 52-week lows that he had a bigger announcement on November 15th. And the stock went up 100%. It went up literally 100% based off of basically nothing, based off of air. So if it's giving these bearish reactions at a key resistance level with big downside potential, you better believe for the short term I'm going to take advantage and buy those put options. Trump is the fucking greatest. He could have just announced the news that he was going to announce on November 15th. But instead, he announces that he's going to announce news and the stock pumps, giving traders who are stuck bag holding, buying and investing into this stock some hope and a chance to sell for maybe break even or some profit, and also giving traders an amazing opportunity to buy put options at the peak. And then as time goes on, there could be a good opportunity to rebuy this stock and buy call options. I'll walk you through that as well. You can use this strategy both ways. I'm going to show you how to absolutely crush this market. Make sure you stay to the end of this video. So in terms of DWAC stock, I'm going to be sharing with you information that wasn't even shared in yesterday's video. I'm going to walk you through on all the reasons why I was bearish on this stock. So let's get straight into it. So in terms of DWAC, there was a gap to fill at $29.42. The strategy is called a gap close reversal, right? So what you need to understand about gaps is, how is a gap formed? What is a gap? Basically, stocks can trade and move during extended hours. And after hours and pre-market, shares can be traded. It can move the stock and it can cause the stock to open up lower or higher during extended hours. And it can have very volatile moves if there's some sort of news, earnings, etc., right? So these blue lines represent the previous closing price. So if this daily candle, which represents 1 day's worth of price action, is below this blue line, that means it opened up lower and it had a gap down. If this blue line is above this candle, that means it opened up higher and it had a gap up, right? And when I'm doing this, what I do is I focus on the gaps when I'm trying to identify a reversal, meaning when the stock goes back to fill the gap. So if it goes back up to fill the gap, I'm looking for a reversal to short. If it goes back down to fill the gap below, I'm looking for a long opportunity to buy, right? As you can see, the stock has been having consistent gap close reversals. It filled the gap right here. It had two reversals, two opportunities to buy puts and short. There was a gap to fill right here. There was a gap to fill right here. Nice reversals. And it just rocketed up, right? It's interesting how good things happen when a stock is oversold, filling the gaps, and how bad things happen when a stock is overbought, filling the gaps, just like DWAC at 29.42, right? Just like triple BY when there was a gap to fill above, and I nailed the exact top of this stock at $27.23, right? Isn't it interesting how that works, how this strategy works when you're using it the right way, oversold, overbought gaps, right? So that's what I like to focus on. Now, how can you confirm that it's actually going to have a reversal? Well, you have to see how it reacts, right? So what we're doing is we are identifying gaps that are oversold and overbought, and we want these gaps to be at key levels. So this is a key level. You can see right here, there used to be some support on the daily chart in the low 29s with some nice little upside potential. Well, once this support level cracked, it ended up having massive downside potential to new 52-week lows in not too long of a period of time. In just 1 month, it sold off very hard, dropping 50% to new 52-week lows, right? So if this were to just instantly gap up and rip back up and have an overreaction to the upside and retest this previous support that's never really been retested since this massive crash, you better believe when there's a gap right there and that previous support is reacting as a resistance level and there's a gap to fill below right here and there's a gap to fill below right here, you better believe I will be interested in buying put options, day trading and swing trading, right? Now, here's another side to this play. Trump ended up releasing news that he had a big announcement on November 15th, and the stock literally goes up 100% in 2 days. Based off of basically air, he's saying that he has a big announcement. So he's saying there's a big announcement on November 15th. Right now, it's November 9th. So it's not November 15th yet, and the stock has already moved 100% plus. So does it make sense to buy the news at the peak at $30? Or does it make sense to sell the news at the peak at $30? To me, that's another reason to sell the news. Trump is a fucking genius. He could have just waited until November 15th and he could have literally just said the big announcement. But instead, he pumps the stock before an announcement, giving investors and people more hope that it's going to go higher once the announcement is made. It's fucking genius. This guy is creating so much opportunity to be trading within this market. I fucking love this guy, man. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have been able to have this amazing short selling opportunity with my strategy. So big shout out to Trump. And again, there's going to be an opportunity to be buying call options on DWAC. You can use this strategy both ways. Say it goes back to these gaps within time and it starts forming bullish confirmations on the daily, bullish confirmation on the daily. I'll gladly buy calls that low. Say it rips back up to $28 and it forms bearish confirmations. I will gladly rebuy my puts. Do you see the opportunity that is being created in the market real time when people are emotional, buying at the peaks, hoping for a breakout? I'm not hoping for anything. I'm looking at this chart and I'm comparing it to triple BY, which is something that nobody has done. And it worked out 100% to a T because I know how to identify patterns. I know how to capture trends in real time, right? You want to make money? You got to learn how to capture trends in real time. So I identified the trend. DWAC had a massive move up and then it comes crashing right back down. Triple BY had a massive move up, then it comes crashing right back down. There was a gap to fill right here on DWAC at that 29-ish level. There was a gap to fill right here on triple BY. I showed you on the daily at that 27-ish level. It had a gap close reversal. When it hit that gap, it dropped massively. And the gift is, it went right back up. It went right back up, giving people the opportunity to rebuy puts, to reshort the stock, for it to just crash right back down. That was your bearish confirmation. Your bearish confirmation is, as soon as these stocks filled the gap at the same price, they sold off massively. And the pattern is identical. Look at this. Has a massive rip up, sells right back off, sells right back off. The prices and gaps are nearly identical. The next day, it has a fake out and it rips even higher than the previous day. The next day, it has a fake out, rips even higher in extended hours. Then it sells off, it doesn't crash as big. Then it sells off, doesn't crash as big. And then what happens the next day? The next day, it gets absolutely crushed. And this is the information, and these are the patterns that nobody is willing to share with you. Nobody's willing to expose this. Nobody is willing to show you how to escape the matrix. And that's what I'm going to do for you. And I'm not saying for you to blindly follow what it is that I'm teaching. I'm just going to show you, look, this is what's most likely going to happen. Here's how I confirmed it. This is what's most likely going to be happening. I'm not going to be right 100% of the time. But with this particular pattern that I'm sharing with you right now, this is an 80% win rate pattern with shorting. And you can take money from people's emotions, from all the people who are buying at the peak. You want to know the worst strategy in this market? This is the worst strategy to do in this market. Find a stock that's up 100% plus and buy it at the breakout. Buy it at the top, at the breakout. You want to know the worst strategy? This is the worst strategy. find a stock like this that hits a key resistance level, that hits a gap, right, especially with the gaps, and it drops like 30, 40, 50%. And then it instantly spikes right back up. Go ahead, buy the peak. Buy the peak, buy the peak, buy the peak, buy the peak. It's already confirmed bearish. It's sold off massively already. It's a gift for it to rip back up to buy puts too short. This is the worst time in the market to be a breakout trader in this bear market and to hope for a stock to break out, especially when it's been confirmed bearish and already sold off massively from the breakout level. Trade the channel. Do you think when I'm shorting a stock at the top and buying puts at the top, do you think I'm sitting here and saying that I'm going to be covering all the way at the lows of this channel at $20 or that I believe $20 is going to crack? No. I'm not hoping for a massive breakdown. I'm just getting out on the dip and locking in my gains. I made my 100%. It hit my $24 to $22 overall price target, and I lock in my profits. I'm not hoping for anything. I'm not hoping for a breakout, and I'm not hoping for a breakdown. I'm playing into these fake outs and getting at the exact top. I'm not hoping for anything. Imagine hoping for a stock to break out at the top when it's confirmed bearish and every indication has triggered that it's going to absolutely get crushed for the short term, right? So how was I able to identify that was bearish? I used the triple BY pattern. I used, previous supports reacting as resistance. There was a gap to fill here. Look at this. There were so many gaps. There was a gap to fill here. 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 It didn't really have any gap close reversals till it hit basically the highest one at 29.30, right? Here was a nice little partial gap close reversal. There was a gap to fill right here. It partially filled the gap on this day, sold right back off to fill the gap. Then it had another reversal. Could have went short and long. That was a nice one. But yeah, in terms of bearish confirmations, very, very simple. The triple BY pattern and just understanding, okay, it filled the gap. This is the gap right here, this red line. It filled the gap. How did it react? Well, it had a massive sell-off. It dropped almost 50% in a couple minutes, and then it instantly rocketed back up. So I'm saying, okay, this is already confirmed bearish. This has already dropped basically 50% from the gap level instantly, right? And there's multiple gaps to fill below. And if you can just see, it is struggling. It is consistently struggling to break above. Every time it tries to break out, it's a fake out and it gets slapped right back down to support. And it's consistently forming these bearish top wicks. Every bearish confirmation in the book was triggered on this stock. And I compared this to triple BY and it gave me even more confidence to swing trade puts because I looked at the pattern and I said, okay, triple BY ended up going a little bit higher. It went a little bit higher in extended hours on day 2, and then it sold right back off. And what happened the next day? Surely enough, it got crushed. Look at this. DWAC went a little bit higher on day 2, faked out, sold right back off, pumped back up a little bit, and it sold off the next day, just like triple BY, just like something that no other channel, no other person has shared with you. I wonder why this is, because they don't have the strategies. They don't know how to catch trends in real time. They don't have that photographic, that photogenic memory where they see a pattern. How did I remember triple BY? Because I was watching triple BY when it filled that gap, and I visually remembered how it reacted, and I visually remembered that pattern. I said, oh my gosh, DWAC is doing the same fucking thing. What a gift to have that memory. What a gift to sit there and watch triple BY and not just sit there. I called that crash and I absolutely banked on that crash, just like I did with this one. What a gift to put myself in that same history repeating. Trades are based off of history. Now, this is another thing that I didn't share with you. This right here. So look at this pattern. This is the same exact pattern. I'm going to share with you this pattern here as well. This is another bearish confirmation of DWAC and another reason why it was likely to crash. Same exact pattern. So look at this. DWAC has a massive gap up. DWC has a massive gap up. It forms this kind of red bearish candle at a lower level. It forms this kind of bearish trend reversal candle at a lower level. And then the next day, big sell-off fills the gap. Big sell-off starts to fill the gap. You see that pattern? Do you see how, in a sense, how these three candles look similar to these? See how these two candles, in a sense, look similar to these two candles? And then what happens on the day 3? Day 3, it sells off. Plus, another reason why I was bearish is yesterday was the first red day. Yesterday was the first red day. The bulls have proven that they are literally failures to break above this $30 level for the short term. Like I said, I'm swing trading and I'm day trading. I'm not here telling you that this isn't gonna, not break above $30 long term. That's not what I'm saying. I'm trading this for the short term. All these people who just got stuck bag holding, all these people who literally just gave back a bunch of profits with their options, or they're down, or they bought the peak, or whatever it is that they're doing with their strategy, they could have literally just hedged and bought puts and made 100% in just one single day. That's literally what they could have done, but they're ignorant. But anyways, another reason why I was bearish is the volume faded. Day 2, it failed to break out. It was trying to trend back lower, and the volume faded. when the volume fades at the high, so the volume was at 33 million on day one, day two, it dropped to 23 million, right? So the volume basically got split in half, and all the bearish confirmations triggered. So when the volume fades at the top like that, what typically happens is you will start to see a sell-off. Yesterday was also the first red day. So when you're seeing that first red day towards the top, you're typically going to see a continued sell-off as well. So those are all the reasons on why I was bearish. I shared with you from a technical view, previous support reacted as a resistance, overreaction to the upside. It already crashed massively. It was the same exact pattern from a technical view. Just look at the charts. Charts literally are giving you the answers. This is like studying a test. Okay, what did triple BY do at this price when it reacted the same way as DWAC? Oh, wow, history repeats itself. Isn't it crazy how that works? It's so simple, yet nobody teaches it, right? Because they haven't escaped the matrix. All these people that you're following talking about DWAC stock, most of them are fucking broke. They're not in the stock. They're not in the position. It's just hopium, man. They just don't get how the game works. I'm going to put you on to how this game actually works because I've done it and I've been in it for over a decade now. But yeah, this is what I love. I used to do this all the time, man. I kind of stepped back from a little bit because my account got to a much bigger point and I wanted to do something different, and I moved to options. But I love small caps, man. That's how I started. I started off with small caps. I was big on those for years. Then I did very well and I transitioned into options because they're less risky and they generate bigger percent returns. I got a comment saying yesterday, you know, this is a really risky trade you're making. You're buying put options on DWAC stock. And I told him, okay, say DWAC stock goes to like $70 or $100 tomorrow. If I were short on the stock, to make a decent return on my portfolio, I would have to put in a lot of equity into that position. And losses on short selling are unlimited. So I would be exposed to unlimited losses, and to make a decent return, because the stock dropped 20%, I'd have to put in a decent amount of money in my portfolio to make a decent return, right? That's extremely risky. And this guy was telling me to short shares. I told him what I'd rather do is I'd rather make a 100% return on the put options and put in less equity and not be exposed to unlimited losses. The most I can lose with an option is what I put in. And I'm not going to put in as much as I would with shares because the return is going to be 5 times bigger. And obviously, if I'm wrong, the contracts can go down 30, 40, 50%, whatever, right? But that's my argument with that. And that's one of the main reasons why I actually transitioned into trading options, because, you know, I've been in shorts with small cap stocks where, you know, say 9 out of 10 times it works, but that one time it doesn't, and I'm holding a big position and, you know, I'm breaking all my rules, I can be exposed to a very big loss. And I've had those big losses. I've learned from those mistakes. But options, if you minimize them and size them properly, it's actually a less riskier way to short stocks and to trade stocks in general with the options. And it's a lot better, especially, you know, if you have a smaller account as well. But that's my overall thoughts. That's my overall analysis on DWAC stock. That's how I was able to successfully predict the crash. Those are all the reasons on why I was bearish. I encourage you to go back and watch that previous video. With that being said, you know, what am I interested in doing from here? Well, gap close reversals. That's it. I have no opinion until there's gap close reversals. So in terms of what is DWAC stock doing? Well, it's in the process of having a gap close reversal, but there is a new gap to fill above. We also know Trump's going to have a big announcement on November 15th, which could come into play for a second pump, right? So you have to be aware of that. So I'm going to keep it very, very simple. There's resistance right here at, you know, $21.88. This is now the second time where it hit that previous resistance and reacted as support, which is a micro bullish attempt. And there's a gap to fill above at $28. So the reality of the situation is, if you see this $21.88 level crack and react as a resistance, it is going to sell back off to fill the next gap. There's a gap to fill below at 1748. And if it were to crack that, there's a gap to fill below at 1633. Now, if 2180 holds, it is going to try to retest 2470. If it breaks above that, then it's going to fill this gap at 2808, which is where I would be interested in using what I exactly taught you, again, at $28. So in terms of puts and shorts, I have a $28.08 price alert. You can day trade, you could swing trade it, but in terms of DWAC, it has a wider spread. So I'm just gonna look for swing trading confirmations. So a swing trading confirmation would be, it forms a bearish candlestick, a bearish wick, a trend reversal daily candlestick, which is not confirmed and determined until the market closes, right, to swing trade this. This is something that I really wouldn't day trade options on because of wide spreads. Now, If you see this previous support at 2470 react to support, it's going to try to continue to drop under 2160s. As of now, it's reacting as a resistance, which is micro bearish as well. So if it continues to stay under 2460, it's going to crack 2122. If it goes under 22, then it's going to start to fill the gaps below, right? So in terms of where are we at, we are in the middle of the channel. And you want to know something, my friend, the worst price to be trading is in the middle of the channel, because right now you're going to see a battle, and this battle is going to be a battle of the gaps. It's going to try to fill this gap below, and it's going to try to fill this gap above. And there's ways you can determine of which one's going to fill first. But what I'm telling you is, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait for the battle to be over, man. And I'm going to wait for the reversal confirmations to come in, right? So I'm going to wait for one of these gaps to fill. And then once the oversold gap fills, or once the overbought gap fills, whichever fills first, I'm going to wait for signs of a reversal. Once I get confirmation and, strong confirmation, like I used on this trade, of a reversal, then I'm going to look to day trade or swing trade my options, or maybe even shares I'll day trade. We'll see, right? So basically what I'm saying is, what I'm interested in doing from here is, I'm interested in waiting for one of the gaps to fill, whether it fills this gap, or whether it fills this gap. And then from there, what I'm interested in doing is not hoping for a break above 28 and not hoping for a crack below 1750 or a crack below 1630. Just simply waiting for confirmations, bullish confirmations on the daily that it's showing some support towards these gaps for reversal to buy, and then bearish confirmations on the daily that it's forming resistance at this 28 and puts are good to go again. That's what I'm doing. Nothing else. That is how you trade the best setups at the best prices. That will give you a better understanding of my overall strategy. I'm telling you, man, when you see these bearish confirmations, even at the previous closing price, top wicks, top wicks, top wicks, top wicks, top wicks, short the stock, short the stock, short the stock. Easy money, man. Rinse and repeat. Do that when it's already confirmed bearish. It's already confirmed bearish because it did the same thing as triple BY, and it already had a massive pullback from the gap. This went from like $30 a share all the way down to $20. You better believe when it retests that resistance and forms a bearish candlestick, I'm going to be playing puts on that double top, triple top, quintuple top, right? But like I said, for this type of stock, you want to focus on swing trading, because day trading this one, man, it's very tough. It's very tough, especially with the options to day trade options. If you're going to day trade, I would just do the shares. Options have a wider spread, and it's really not an ideal stock with the lack of liquidity and the spreads to be day trading options on. So from here, it's going to dry up a little bit. It's going to be a battle in terms of what is the chart saying? Well, your previous support is now resistance, and it's back to this $22 support. It's make or break. If it cracks this $22 level, big downside potential to fill the gap, right? And just study what it previously did, man. Just study what it previously did. Look at this. Right here, when it went under this $22 level, it sold off into the 16s, and then it bottomed and it started to have that reversal in the 16s. So we do have a gap to fill below at 1748, and in terms of your best entry possible, $16.33. Those will be my two key levels of interest if I were interested in buying and looking for a reversal, and $28 will remain my interested level for shorts and put options, right? That's my thoughts from here, and I will continue to keep you updated on DWAC. Whether I see a long opportunity or a buy opportunity, I gave you the key levels for potentially buying this, and I gave you the key levels for potentially short selling this using the strategy. Once it hits those gaps, all you're doing is you're determining, okay, is it a floor? Does this look bullish? Or is it resistance? Is it forming a roof? Does this look bearish? Now, if it looks bearish all the way down here at these gaps, you don't trade it because it's oversold. If it looks bullish at $28, you don't trade it because it's overbought. This is a trend reversal strategy. If it looks bullish at $28 and I think it's going to rise, I'm not going to buy it because it's so high, right? So I'm just going to get rid of it. I'm just not going to watch it. I'm looking for trend reversals. I'm looking to, buy low, sell high. If it looks bullish up here, I'm just not going to buy the stock period or buy the puts period. If it looks bearish down here, then I'm just not going to, short the stock period, right? So yeah, that's what you need to understand. That's my strategy. That's how I look at it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I will keep you guys up to date. Some of you guys were asking about, how do I join the chat room? How do I get in within Trader Society? So Trader Society, I did decide to close the program. So the program is closed. I'm still going to be operating within the network, within the program, doing the live streams, delivering everything is that I promised to the members within Trader Society. By what I mean when I say it's closed is we're not currently accepting new members, right? So we have maxed out for the time being. We basically hit 1,000 members very, very quickly, and we are not open to the public anymore. It is now private. With that being said, we are going to be reopening and launching new programs heading into the beginning of 2023. So you could stay tuned for that. But right now, we are super focused on getting these members the results, as I have done. You could see right here, they absolutely crushed it. $3,250, $800. People absolutely crushed it on swing trading DWAC puts. So big shout out to all the members within Trader Society doing so. So with that being said, stay tuned for that big announcement in 2023 when I open up new programs and reopen Trader Society to the public. Right now, it is closed privately, and we're really going to be laser focused on, helping these people finish very strong and ending the year on a green note. So I'm going to be wrapping things up here, and I will see you in the next one.